So,
Let's do it.
regrettably, for this week, the album that we are going to be discussing is Where Will the Animals Sleep? Songs for Kids and Other Living Things by William Shatner. I don't know why we did this. Okay, Where Will the Animals Sleep? Songs for Kids and Other Living Things is the 11th studio album by William Shatner.
11.
The 11th.
Yes.
Because there's no Wikipedia page, there's barely any information on the internet about this. There is, however, a sales pitch by William Shatner on his Bandcamp, so I will
Let's hear it.
read that.
Let's hear it.
One of the greatest.
I love, sorry, I love how he's doing this on Bandcamp and nothing else.
one One of the greatest storytellers of his generation, an icon of stage, screen, and musical performance, William Shatner proudly presents this ingenious, infectious, and thoroughly entertaining album for children of all ages. Created in collaboration with longtime guitarist for They Might Be Giants Dan Miller and award-winning YA novelist Rob Chernow, Shatner gives voice to characters from across the animal kingdom on this whimsical and educational release. Perfect for parents looking for a new way to engage their young ones and cultivate a love for creatures of all kinds, shapes, and sizes.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing.
D-
So go ahead.
Does the Geneva Convention even allow Shatner's music in public? Says Purple Wayne.
I mean, it's a good question after listening to this album because there are some parts where I guess we're going into this. I guess we're getting into this.
Yeah,
There are
let's
some
do it.
parts where I thought that he was like, it was almost like the scary, like, dementia patient that, like, is going to cause, like, harm to somebody without even, like, knowing it. Um, because now, just to give an example of what I mean by this, is I figured, you know what, this is a great album to listen to. It's a kid's album with Rosie. So I was like feeding Rosie and I was listening to this album and it was like the first song, The Elephants and Termites. She was like kind of like dancing around, which she usually does when music's on, which is pretty cool. I love that. But then he started doing the like, I guess it was the elephant that was itchy, and he was like, "Ooh, ah, oh," and it was just really like aggressive. And she actually started to cry. Like I kid you not, she actually started to cry, and that wasn't the only song she cried at. She also cried at "Chomp Chomp Chomp" about the beaver,
That
and
is so funny.
and it was like I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, and it was hilarious. It was funny. I didn't film it because I'm not going to show you guys because I don't know. I feel like that's a breach
Yeah,
of
yeah,
our
yeah,
trust or whatever. But
yeah, yeah.
anyways, but that's what I mean. There are some parts in this album which are actually terrifying. I find, um, like not that I we find it terrifying. It's just like, what the hell is this? I can't see this being like a kid's like, you know, happy about this. Now, I did like I can't first of all, I can't believe we're actually deep diving this album. Which is amazing. Um some of the ideas were clever. So I like the idea of the one was it? Barnacle Bill the Sailor.
I thought that was a
Uh
cute song, to be honest.
yeah,
Because
it's a
his
really
name's
cute song.
William Barnacle Bill the Sailor. I thought it was pretty. There were a lot of puns. There were
Abs-
so many puns in this.
Absolutely. And then there was the whale one, the secret agent whale, which I thought was kind of cute.
Oh, you like Secret Agent Whale? That was the
It
one song I was like, this is terrible. This is some like demented Secret Agent Man type of like parody song. And I was like,
Mhm.
this is the most William Shatner song I've ever heard in my life.
Like I thought it was clever. I thought Mushrooms Talks to Trees was an interesting song because like I felt like it was on the border of being a little bit racist. So if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Oh my god.
Should I? I'm gonna pull up the lyrics here,
Sure, go for it.
and I'm gonna read them to everybody because it's just hilarious.
This whole album, I don't know what he's thinking. Like, who's letting him do this?
Oh man, it was amazing. Okay, he says so. It's pretty much like if anybody has watched like a documentary on mushrooms, like it's kind of just like fungus grows off like dead things, and they talk with like nature, and it's actually supposed to be like really good for us, some of these mushrooms, and like this is science, this isn't the album telling us this, but like they're obviously trying to say, oh, mushrooms are good, right, for
Mhm.
kids don't like mushrooms probably, but here's the line. uh but does the language change with the country they are in? Do Chinese trees communicate in mushroom Mandarin? I just thought it was hilarious. It was just like, what is going on here?
I remember that line now. Yeah, I
Mhm,
originally thought like, why the frick is he saying this?
mhm.
Chinese
Um,
mushrooms speak Mandarin.
exactly. You know.
Why why do mushrooms speak English in the first like why is that the assumption?
Regardless, even like I thought, "Oh My Honey Guide" was interesting. Like it was a not bad song.
Hmm.
Um, 7,000 Miles on a Nonstop Flight was a terrible song.
He was on drugs for that one. I don't know.
Or he just forgot to take his Alzheimer's pills because he was just like all over the place. Like and here's the thing with William Shatner, I'm not expecting him to be a good singer, but he was like very pitchy at a lot of parts. And even the guy singing with him, I want to say it was the Rhino's Guard, but there's a song where this guy just sings this line or
Mhm.
like one of the verses, and he's even had a key. And I'm like, and this guy's a musician. So I don't know whether or not like that was supposed to be intentional. Um, Another one I want to hear is because it was like obviously a big thing for like Where Would the Animals Sleep, which is the name of the album, which the song was actually very creepy and very depressed because I was listening to this. I'm like, what kid is being like, I love this song, right? It's the ones that go bow, bow,
Yeah, yeah,
bow,
yeah.
bow, 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 like the kind of ones that make them kind of sway like this. Everything else, it just was awful. Like even the last song, the Bird Song Symphony, I
I
thought that was delusional.
I
Like that was that was just a delusional song.
yeah, the whole thing had a like I get it that there is this push for like being environmentally friendly and being just like earth conscious and all that. The whole album sounded like a propaganda spiel for like protecting the environment, which I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, that's the angle you're taking on this. But like, it was they were really going hard on like, we got to save the coral, we got to save all the birds. Birds, work together. Why can't humans work together? Like, it was like they're going pretty hardcore on it.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Purple Wing wants to know if the cover art is AI generated. We did get confirmation on this because there was an uproar online about whether it's AI generated or not.
Mhm.
Apparently, it is not. Someone actually created this album cover.
That's with AI. I'm just kidding.
It's it does
We're
look like
trying to
AI. It does look like
we're
AI though.
we're still trying to decide, Purple Wayne, if the thing that William Shatner is holding in his hands is an iPad or a book.
Yeah, the whole album cover is a mess. Like it makes no sense. Like why is he in the center there?
I think that this album should be called "Where Will the Animals Sleep? Songs for Terrifying Children and Other Animals." That's what I think this album should be called.
But yeah, I mean, like the whole album is I think intended to be a kids album, so like I wasn't expecting like anything too crazy about it. I thought some of the songs, they're okay, they're like catchy enough for a little child, but like there are just
Or
parts
they make them cry,
or they
like
make them
mine.
cry. Yeah, it's crazy. But like 7,000 miles on a nonstop flight, that song, like it was insane. I get like why it was delivered in the way it was, but essentially the whole idea was like, oh, these birds are flying at super fast speeds. So I'm going to sing the song at a super fast speed where like I can barely keep up with the tempo. Like
Mhm.
there's certain parts where he just sings so fast that it's like it's just off rhythm. It's like crazy.
It's completely off rhythm, and it was maddening to listen to.
So like I don't know if this is here's the one thing about this album though that I think is good. I think William Shatner does do children's like I think his voice is actually suited for children's albums
Mhm.
versus like anything else. Like his sort of storytelling sort of cadence is more in line with what I hear in other children
Mhm.
music albums. Um, so I think I don't like it, but at the same time, like this might be a better genre for you than other stuff
Mhm.
that you've been doing.
I think he needs to hold off though on the like chop 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 like thing, like with that Beaver song, because like I feel like that's just like holy shit, like take a step. I do get what you're saying by that, and what I would have liked to see with this album is if they actually had music videos for it, for kids, like, because
Right.
like
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
clips to
Yeah,
watch,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
like you put on kids TV
That would
shows,
make more
they're literally
sense.
like 3 or 4 minutes an episode,
Yep.
and then it's just like, so that would make sense with something like this. Like that would be really cool, like an illustration or something to listen to it. But yeah, it's just, this is William Shatner going into the loony bin.
Actually, that is a good point. That is actually a missed opportunity. I don't know why this is an audio only experience. It really should have been accompanied by a animated short or TV show or whatever.
Like you put this on Netflix, I'm sure maybe Rosie's too young, or maybe I would like to think that she's too pretentious with music, that she's like, turn this off. This is making me cry. Um, but yeah, if this was a kids TV show, I think it would actually like hit off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wow. That's a good point. Yeah, that's really a missed opportunity. Okay. Anyways, musicality wise, there isn't really much to say about it. There isn't much going on musically. It is like the simplest of simple songs.
Mhm.
There really is nothing
Absolutely.
going on. So from that perspective, there's nothing really to listen to this for. So really what you're trying to get out of this is the storytelling and William Shatner's delivery, which is questionable at best. So I don't know. Um, is there any didgeridoo in this? I don't think so. I don't remember a didgeridoo in here.
I don't remember any didgeridoo.
Yeah, I feel like I would have noticed if there was a didgeridoo. Anyways, Eric, final thoughts and ratings on this godforsaken album.
I'm gonna give this an album a 10 out of 10. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. um Oh, like personally, obviously I don't like this album and it made my daughter cry. So I feel like I have to take some offense to that. So I'm gonna have to give this like like some of the songs were cleverly written. I
Right.
will have
Yep.
to give it that. So I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of 10 is my album review of this.
Yeah, I think a two is justified for this because it's just like it's not good. It's like madness what this album is.
Oh, it's amazing. I was listening to this the whole time, being like, why did I agree to this?
Hermione wants to know what those two redeeming things to give it a 2 out of 10.
One, A, it's William Shatner.
just for being William Shatner, you get 1
Just
point.
for being William Shatner, you get 1 point. And then 2, some of the songs were clever. That's it.
Um, I don't know. I'm sort of stuck in that 3 or 4 range because, like, I don't think
3 or
it's
4. You're
yeah.
giving it way higher than me.
I think a 3 or 4 is where I'm sitting. I'm trying to be
Mhm.
convinced as to what to give it a 3, but like, I'm trying to think of like as a kid if you listen to this, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously your kid did not like this, but
No.
I'm thinking like obviously you're not in the kids album you're not gonna put the craziest guitar solo in there or like an instrument like a piano instrumental piece, like you're not gonna put any of that, right? It's got to be
So
really simple.
I had to cut you off there because Chasing Dragonflies makes a good point. Didn't you give Dua Lipa a 4 of 10? And my question, follow-up question for that is, which album you're comparing Dua Lipa with William Shatner?
Honestly, no, this is far worse. This is definitely worse than the Dua Lipa album. At least the Dua Lipa album was sort of listenable. Okay, fine, a 3, a 3. You've convinced me. Chasing Dragonflies, a 3. Um, but like, yeah, I'm trying to think like you're obviously not going to make it a super complicated, like musically dense album. It has to just be very quote unquote catchy. Like it just has one melody line the kid can follow, and then just a vocal top onto it. Like that's basically it. And then
Exactly.
Sorry, go
And
ahead.
that's another good point because I felt like some of the lyrics were a little bit complicated for kids to sing along to.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah. And then William Shatner's delivery, as much as it annoyed me a lot, where he was pitchy, where he was like just not in tempo at certain points. I'm not expecting a Freddie Mercury performance either on a child's album. It's very much like spoken word generally, so like I don't know if I could fault it for that either. Um,
Which is all his albums.
okay, so I'm gonna give it a 3. I've been convinced. I'm giving it a 3 because it's just not a good album, but I don't know. From a kid's perspective, it's not. I wouldn't say it was like a terrible album for a kid's album.
Mm.
There's a bit of a different grading curve for if your objective is to make a kid's album. You're not expecting Dream Theater or anything. Uh, what? Yeah, we gave Dua Lipa a 4. It was a optimistic, what is it, radical optimism. It was just a boring album. It was not good.
I believe I gave it a 6 out of 10, actually.
Oh, you gave it a. Oh yeah, right. You gave it a 6. I gave it a 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the other side of it. I don't know. I just thought it was a boring album.
Oh, amazing.
Oh yes, and Purple Wayne, on that episode where we did the Dua Lipa album, we did ask the audience to suggest what other Dua Lipa albums to listen to
Yes.
if they thought that there were better albums, because we've only listened to Radical Optimism.
So first album.
First
I'll
album?
put that on my list here. That's what he's saying.
Okay. First album. We'll take a listen to that. We'll put it on the short list. All right, Eric, you gave it a 2. I've been convinced to give it a 3. It is not a good album. I guess we can't even recommend it for kids to listen to because
Not
apparently
mine.
makes kids cry apparently.
Mhm.
Anyways, that is our discussion on Where Will the Animals Sleep? Songs for Kids and Other Living Things by William Shatner. For those of you following along with us every single week, the album that we are going to be listening to and reviewing is the brand new Lenny Kravitz album, Blue Electric Light.
Oh, I ain't gonna go my way. Just
I
kidding.
am moderately excited to listen to this album. I've never listened to a Lenny Kravitz album in my life. Obviously, I know like the hit singles, but I've never actually gone in and listened to his music. So this will be an interesting experience for me. And Purple Wayne, do you review older albums or just new ones? These days we just do the new ones. We only do new releases. But previously we did do a lot of classic albums, but generally we try to stick with new albums. And then by year end, once we've gone through the whole list, we usually go through some of the older stuff that we missed or things that people request. Is usually at year end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. That's all. I'm sick of this album. I'm so glad we're moving on to something else. I think that's it. That's it for the podcast for this week. Purple Wayne wants to know if we listened to Mila Jovovich's album, The Divine Comedy from 1994. I didn't even know she did an album. That's interesting.
Haven't heard it, but I will put it on my list.
Who's the actor in Gladiator? Main actor.
Russell Crowe.
Did you know Russell Crowe's in a band?
Yes, I heard he was in a band, but I don't know what the band is called.
He apparently loves just playing on stage.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I found out this past week.
What does he play?
I believe he plays guitar and he sings, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's like my like secret pleasure.
Yeah, I never knew that. It was wild. I can't believe like he actually is in a band. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Crossroads Music Podcast. We're here at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast. We're here every Monday at 10 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. PT. Catch us on YouTube, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, all the places where you get your podcasts. Did I miss anything?
That's it, buddy.
Oh yeah, and if you have any comments, put it on our YouTube channel, and we'll respond to it live on stream. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week.
Cheers.